The idea for a Jewish state does not come upon Herzl at the start of the Dreyfus affair, but it makes him certain that a major political step is needed. He begins by writing to Baron Moritz de Hirsch in May 1895.
Honored Sir, when may I have the privilege of visiting you? It is not a question of an interview, still less a direct or indirect money matter. I want to discuss with you a Jewish political plan, the effects of which will perhaps extend to days when you and I are no longer here.
Baron Moritz de Hirsch is one of the richest men of his time. In 1891, he founds the Jewish Colonization Society. Its purpose is to help Russian Jews who suffer under government-approved pogroms by transferring them to Argentina. Herzl meets with the Baron and tries to convince him that something more is needed. What is required is a mass movement. He fails to win the Baron over. It is only after his meeting with Hirsch that Herzl has, one might say, an epiphany. At first, it overwhelms him.
During these days, I was more than once afraid that I was going out of my mind. So furiously did the cataract of thoughts race through my soul. 13 years were needed, at least, in order that I might reach this simple thought.
The idea that breaks upon him with such force is that of a Jewish state.
I pick up once again the torn thread of the tradition of our people. I lead it into the Promised Land. The Promised Land, where we can live at last as free men on our own soil.
Herzl debates whether to approach another wealthy Jewish family. In his diary, he outlines a 65-page pamphlet which he calls Address to the Rothschilds. But Herzl is advised against approaching them when he is told they will not be sympathetic. Instead, he visits Max Nordau in Paris, a writer with a worldwide reputation who, like Herzl, has been pushed back to the Jewish people by anti-Semitism. He declares himself ready to help. Herzl resolves to bring his ideas to the public. He reworks his address to the Rothschilds, its new title, Der Judenstaat, the Jewish State, an attempt at a modern solution of the Jewish question. In the introduction, Herzl writes,
"The Jewish question exists wheresoever Jews are to be found in larger numbers. Where it does not exist, it is brought in by immigrating Jews. We move naturally toward those areas where we are not persecuted. Our appearance in those areas is followed by persecution. This is true, and it must remain true, even in highly developed countries. France proves it, as long as the Jewish question is not solved politically."
Reaction to the pamphlet published in February 1896 is strong. The German press responds with sarcasm. The publishers of the Neue Freie Presse, the paper for which Herzl works, refuses to mention it. Even many leaders of existing Zionist groups view Herzl's work with suspicion. Why did he not mention earlier Zionists like Bodenheimer and Birnbaum, Pinsker, and Hess? The truth is that Herzl knew nothing of these early Zionists. He has broken through to the same path on his own. Herzl does gain one important ally. Shortly after Der Judenstaat appears, it comes to the attention of Reverend William Heckler, chaplain to the British Embassy in Vienna. Born in India to a German missionary father and a British mother, Heckler was steeped in ecumenical Protestantism. As an adult, he becomes transfixed by God's promise of Israel's redemption. Heckler excitedly reads Herzl's pamphlet and on March 10, 1896, comes unannounced to Herzl. Herzl is astonished by Heckler's ideas, particularly his belief that the promised return of the Jewish people is upon them and that Herzl is fulfilling divine prophecy, even if Herzl, irreligious and scientifically minded, is himself unaware of it. Most important, Heckler promises his aid. It is no empty pledge. Heckler is well connected, having tutored the children of a German prince. He opens doors to Herzl, eventually leading to a meeting with the German Kaiser himself. These contacts prove critical in raising Herzl's stature to that of an international statesman. Herzl's book and the fact that he keeps company with crowned heads has an electric effect on the masses of Jewry. Letters begin to pour in from all parts of the world. They ask Herzl to take the leadership of the movement. Hundreds wait at railroad stations to see him shouting, "Lord and leader in Israel," and "next year in Jerusalem." Unbeknownst to Herzl, Zionist groups already exist, mainly as small, scattered societies in Russia and Eastern Europe. In 1894, 2 years before Der Judenstadt, Zionist student groups in Vienna had begun calling for a Zionist Congress. Now they approach Herzl and ask him to lead it. He agrees, and on August 29, 1897, the first Zionist Congress assembles in Basel, Switzerland. 3 taps of the gavel open the Congress. After the opening prayer, Herzl rises. One delegate says,
"It is no longer the elegant Dr. Herzl of Vienna. It is a royal scion of the House of David, risen from among the dead, clothed in legend and fantasy and beauty."
Herzl's first words set forth the purpose of the Congress.
We are here to lay the foundation stone of the house which is to shelter the Jewish nation.
A program is laid out, including the settlement of Palestine and the strengthening of Jewish national consciousness. On his return to Vienna, Herzl makes the following entry in his diary.
If I were to sum up the Basel Congress in a single phrase, which I would not dare to make public, I would say, in Basel I created the Jewish state. If I said this out loud today, I would be answered by universal laughter. Perhaps in 5 years, and certainly in 50, everyone will know it.
On May 14, 1948, 50 years and 8 months after Herzl wrote these words, David Ben-Gurion announces the birth of the State of Israel.